Work here, welcome back to the bench. So as our frame is off at Applied Ballistics getting some coating and work done to it, we've got work to do here at home. Right now, what we're going to be focusing on is polishing a couple of internal components. They both have a black finish on there, and the black finish looks like it'd be great at retaining a little bit of lubrication, but it's also relatively rough. So we're going to get that black finish off of there, take down any of the sharp edges that we've got, and hopefully smooth up our trigger pull. Let's go ahead and focus on our hammer spur here first. So on these components, I'm going to be starting with a relatively rough 600 finish sandpaper. That 600 finish sandpaper is just going to be to get this top coat off. Then we're going to quickly switch over to a 1500 to get a little bit more of a shine before going to our 2000 grit. And then, if we need to, we do have the ability to go to a buffing wheel and a polishing compound. So let's go ahead and start with 600 grit and get this black coating off of here. You can already see some of these high spots. We're going to take most of those off while we're getting this coating off. The 600 grit should make pretty quick work of this. Now this hammer spur, the main areas that we're going to be focusing on is there's quite a few pretty harsh edges on here. We're going to try to smooth those off, and we're going to do this entire section here to try to make sure that this is all nice and smooth, because the hammer spring does run into this quite a bit. So once I get far enough down that I'm kind of getting most of the high points, I'm just going to run my fingers across it, and you can still feel where some of the little variations are that you need to be able to hit to take down with the sandpaper. I'm going to get my block out here for something harder to push up against. Having problems getting down in here when I'm having to push against the soft padding I've got here on the bench. Let's go ahead and make sure that we break these edges on this top section here. Now I don't want to take off a whole lot of material up here, because this is the section that's going to fit inside our hammer here, and we don't want a whole lot of rattling in there. So I'm going to hit that just enough to smooth it out, without reducing enough material to actually change the fit that much. Now you can see here the variations in the finishing, where I still need to be able to get through a little bit. I think that's about as far as we're going to go with that. Let me do the shaft a little bit more, because there's still a couple of high spots on there that I'm not happy with. Alright, I think that's all of the 600 that we're going to do. Go ahead and jump up to our 1500. Now this thing is getting relatively smooth already. I'm not sure we're going to need to go up to the 2000 on it, but let's see where we are at after the 1500. That's feeling pretty good. Let's focus down here on this end a little bit. Okay. Alright, that's pretty much it for the hammer spur. I don't think I'm going to go up to the 2000 grit. I don't feel like we're going to have enough rubbing with the spring. That already feels way better than it did before. Let's go ahead and call that a day with a hammer strut. And let's move on to the hard one. This guy is going to be a little bit more difficult. We're just talking more surface area. But let's go ahead and get started on it, see how far we can get. Okay, you can already feel the difference between the bare on this side and what I've worked on this side. Again, I don't think we're going to have to get this to the high sheen that I was thinking that I needed earlier, but this is definitely going to help, because these sections run right inside the frame, rub right up against it. So getting these nice and cleaned up should considerably affect how well this thing actually slides inside the frame. So with this 600 grit, I'm really looking at getting all the heavy work done. I really only want light sanding left after I'm finished with this 600 grit, because I tell you, this, even with this 600 grit, this is not easy work to get done. We're looking at definite improvements here on this side. Now I want to be careful on how much I do on this back side. I don't know 100% how this hooks up to the rest of it. I'll figure that out kind of as it goes together, but definitely don't want to change any of the geometries back here. Just want to clean it up so the parts slide together nicer. I actually don't want to break any of the edges back here, because I know the disconnector attaches in here, and don't want to negatively affect any of that. I think this is where the disconnector actually hooks up. Again, no geometry changes, just a matter of making pieces slide together better. You can see there's a lot of machining marks. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see these, but there are a lot of machining marks in here. This is kind of what we're fighting against. There's a lot down here on this face. I think this face is the one where the disconnector actually engages. This is one of those spots where I don't want to do a whole lot, because I don't want to change the geometry. I'm already changing enough with pieces. I don't want to be screwing with stuff that I don't understand. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I've cleaned it up a little bit, but we're just going to leave that one like that. Time for a new piece of sandpaper and to proceed with the other side of this thing. Also going to get up here, this is the interface between the trigger and the bar. So this is similar to that hammer strut. I'm going to clean it up without changing geometric shapes or anything. This one's going to be even harder, I think. And now let's get to the inside. I think the outside's pretty much done. Let's do the inside really quick. Inside's going to be a little bit more difficult, just less space to work with. Flip her over. Let's do the other side. Okay. So I think that's all we're going to do with the 600 grit. Let's go ahead and grab our 1500 grit. Get to give it a little bit more of a polish on here. Let's go ahead and see what we can do with my cheapo Dremel here. So now, we've got some polishing compound and a Dremel. Let's see what we can do with this. Now that is what I'm talking about. Well, I would say that thing was incredibly worth it, because they looked okay before. Now they look just freaking amazing. Amazing what the right tool for the job will do. So that's it, guys. I mean, all in all, I think I'm about a half an hour into this project. I've got these two pieces relatively finely polished. I mean, it's good enough for what I'm doing. So I think that's about it for tonight. I think the next thing that I'm going to end up doing is either putting the sear cage together, or I'm going to put the hammer on the strut here, and then get the disconnector on there and see if we can stake those pins. But for now, that's it. So thanks again, guys, for coming. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, go ahead and like and subscribe down below. I appreciate every one of you, and until next time, do your research, get informed, and get to work.